guys, welcome to my channel. Yes, you're watching The Sky is the Limit of Vlogger. And to those who have subscribed to my channel, thank you very much. You really made my day. You made me so happy. And for those who have not subscribed yet, please do subscribe because I have a lot of videos which are in store that you will really find very useful. Okay? So today I will not be featuring places. What I'm going to show you, what I'm going to do is I'll be teaching you, okay, some tips or techniques on how to speak English. Okay? So yeah, I know it's so hard to speak English, especially if we are not, you know, native speakers of the English language. Correct? Alright, but there are secrets or there are tips or techniques where you can learn to speak good English like the native speakers of the English language, like the Americans, the Australians, okay, the British. But since American English is the standard English in the world, well, I'm not saying British is not or Australian is not, but American, especially we Asians, we follow the American standard English. So I'll be giving you some tips on how to speak good English, how to communicate with confidence, okay, and how to speak really fluently. Okay, are you ready? So the first one is listen to good speakers of the English language. Remember, our mother tongue is not English. Okay, so for example, me, my mother tongue is Filipino because I grew up in Manila. Although I wasn't born in Manila, but I grew up there. I studied there. So therefore, my language is Filipino. And you know, in the Philippines, there are a lot of dialects. So like, for example, Cebuano, Boholano, Ilocano, okay. What else? There are a lot. Waray. But when we say language, the official language in the Philippines is, people find it somehow hard to speak English because they would say, oh, I have an accent, especially if I'm not, you know, if I'm not used to speaking English. So I have this accent which is quite hard. But you know what, guys? The very technique is you listen to good speakers of the English language. You watch CNN News, okay? There are a lot of newscasters who are very good, okay, in delivering, in speaking. So you watch them because definitely you will really learn. So that's the first tip. Listen to good speakers of the English language, okay? And then number two, parrot or mimic. If you observe little kiddos, like for example, I have a nephew who is 5 years old. Okay, so every time he watches Cartoon Networks, he would mimic or he would parrot the characters. And I have noticed in mimicking or in parroting, my 5-year-old nephew could speak English the way the characters in the Cartoon Network he's watching speak. So what does that mean? It means that every time you mimic, every time you parrot someone who speaks English, it will become part of your system. Like, you know, you will just realize that, oh, I'm speaking English like the way these people do or speak, right? So every time you watch an English movie, let's say, or you listen to English news, so you try to mimic. Like for example, if the character says, okay, like, where's the post office? So you mimic, like, where's the post office? Okay, so where's the post office, right? So that's number two. So you mimic or you parrot, because in so doing, you will just realize along the way that, oh, I'm speaking good English now, right? Okay, and then number three is read, okay? So Mel, what's the connection? Why read? We're talking about speaking English because, you know, it's useless if you're good at speaking English but your vocabulary is very limited, right? So for example, you only learned a few adjective words. So for example, beautiful. So if you only knew a few words, so the tendency is for you to overuse a word. Like for example, oh, I went to Limasawa. Okay, Limasawa is a very beautiful island. And there are a lot of beautiful beaches in Limasawa. And guess what? The people also in Limasawa are very beautiful. So you keep saying the word beautiful instead of using different words like, oh, I went to Limasawa and Limasawa is a very amazing place. It is surrounded, it has a lot of magnificent beaches. So you see, you're using amazing, you're using magnificent, and you can use a lot of adjective words. So that's why tip number 3 is keep reading, because it does not only widen your vocabulary, but it will also give you a lot of, information, good things. Remember what Francis Bacon said? Reading makes a man fool. So if you always read, especially good articles, you will learn a lot. Okay? And then number 4 is practice speaking English. So remember number 1, listen to good speakers, especially the native speakers of the English language. And then number 2 is mimic or parrot someone who's speaking good English. And then number 3, read. As in read, read, read. Okay? And then number 4 is practice speaking. So, you might think, oh, it's corny. It's really corny if I speak English at home when everyone doesn't speak English. My mother, my father, my siblings, they don't speak English. So, just take the initiative to speak English, because eventually those people at home, they will also be contaminated, okay? They will be influenced by you. So they will start speaking English like you. Because if, you only speak English in school or in your workplace or to someone who also speaks English, then I would say that it will not really make you, adept in speaking English. So you really have to speak English even at home. Now, it's okay if you code switch, like you speak English and then you code switch to your vernacular. It's okay as long as you're practicing English at home, because only then will you be able to speak English. And one day you will just realize, oh my God, I'm speaking English now. I mean, even if I'm talking to a vendor or a sales lady or a salesman, I'm speaking English. So you see, because why? You get used to it. Okay? You listen to Lea Salonga. Sometimes she speaks English, even if the reporters or the interviewers don't speak English. Why? Because I believe that Lea Salonga speaks English not only, outside her home or her house. She also speaks English because she grew up in the States, and then I think she also came from a very good school. So that's number 4. You practice speaking English. And then number 5 is, guess what? Do not give up. Okay? There are a lot of tips or techniques in speaking English, but I just summarize it all, like only 5, so that you can easily remember. Okay? So don't give up, especially if you're not really a native speaker of the English language. So don't give up. If you're a student, don't give up. If your teacher always reminds you to speak English, don't give up. Because, one day, you will really become a good speaker of the English language. And who knows, you might be better than your English teacher, right? So don't give up. I know it's quite hard. It's really difficult, especially if you're a beginner or first timer. But just like me, you might ask me, Mel, how do you learn English? To be honest, I only got to learn English this way when I was in college, because I spoke Visayan or Filipino when I was a kid. So I only got to know speaking English when I was in college, because I was challenged by this professor of mine. So I just don't know if you're still watching, Ma'am Viado. So you know what? Your influence really is a big impact to me. So yeah, Miss Viado, Philippine Christian University. I know you're not teaching there anymore. You're not teaching at De La Salle University, but you somehow have influenced me, and you're like an epitome to me. You're my model. I really like the way you speak English. So that's it. So I started speaking English, although it sounded at first, like a social climber or a charlatan or trying hard, but who the hell cares, right? As long as you have that determination to really speak, then you will be able to speak, adapt to how American people speak English. Okay? So again, just to have a recap, number one